We've hit the halfway point here in Season 2 of our realistic Norwich City career mode, and up to now things haven't really gone as planned. After a perfect opening month, which saw us win all 3 of our opening Premier League games as well as our Carabao Cup fixture, our season then began to spiral out of control as we embarked on a run of 13 games without a win, conceding 34 goals, including 4 against Liverpool, Newcastle and West Ham. We did, however, somehow manage to beat Arsenal 2-0 in the last episode to get us back to winning ways. Johnny Rowe pulling the strings in that match. And as we arrive here at the opening of the January transfer window, we have a number of big decisions to make that could dictate how the second half of our season goes. The most important decision that we will have to make this month is whether we sell Johnny Rowe or extend his contract. He has just 6 months remaining on his deal, so we are running out of time to make that decision. And I think the way we're going to go about it is, if we receive an offer that we can't refuse here in January, we will let Johnny Rowe go. If we don't receive an offer that blows us away, then we will extend his contract and we will be keeping hold of him. But we're going to let it play out over the course of the month. And of course, with only a little over 7 million left in our transfer budget, what ends up happening with Johnny Rowe will ultimately dictate which players we are able to bring in this window as well. Not only that, but the fact that we achieved our domestic success custom objective could dictate our transfer policy this window, because by beating Arsenal in the last episode, that means we can sign a promising... So I do have our scouts currently looking through the Arsenal youngsters to see if there's anybody that we could make use of for the second half of this season and beyond. But we'll have to continue to monitor that situation over the course of January, a month in which we have 3 games to get to. I'll show you highlights of our home match against Aston Villa and our trip to Loftus Road in the Carabao Cup, whilst our away fixture at Burnley will be our featured game of today's episode. Aston Villa have already beaten us in both the Premier League and the Carabao Cup this season, and we do face a similar 11 to the one that we saw in that Carabao Cup fixture, but we haven't yet faced them using the rediscovered tactics that gave us a victory over Arsenal in our last episode, so hopefully things will be different today. The only thing different in terms of the starting 11 is Johnny Rowe and Tiano Ballo have switched places. Tiano Ballo going out to the right hand side, Johnny Rowe coming into that number 10 role. Shane Duffy hasn't featured in the starting lineup for quite some time after the arrivals of Callum Chambers, Wesley Hoyt, and most recently Patrick Pfeiffer, but he's barely been getting a spot on the bench recently as well. So he's requested a transfer and he has left the club here in January. And it looked initially as if we might be in for another long game. Aston Villa starting very, very brightly, forcing a number of saves from Jason Steele early. This one from Yuri Tielemans from just outside the box. But barely 10 minutes into the game, we took advantage of the Aston Villa aggression, breaking down the left-hand side. Harry Toffolo's cross, finding Josh Sargent in the box. His header was initially saved by Martinez, but Ballo was there at the back post to tap in the rebound. We almost doubled our lead 25 minutes into the game, but Wesley Hoyt's header was smartly saved by Emi Martinez. Aston Villa had their fair share of opportunities in the first half, though plenty that weren't shown in these highlights. This one from Louis Barry flashed just over the bar. Jason Steele was scrambling. I think he was worried this was going to drop into the top corner, and it looked as if it might for a moment. And Aston Villa's new signing Golovan, linked well with Ollie Watkins in our previous 2 encounters, caused us a lot of issues, and he did so again today, forcing another save from Jason Steele to keep things level as we approach the halftime break. And although we did come so close to making it to the halftime whistle 1-0 up, we just couldn't quite hang on. A minute into 2 of added time, Ollie Watkins absolutely buried this strike in the top corner. He did what Louis Barry earlier could not do. We went toe-to-toe with Aston Villa in the first half, but it was a completely different story after the break. They dominated possession, they kept us pinned back, they absolutely peppered Jason Steele's goal with shots. Thankfully, he was equal to each of them, including this one late on. Emi Buendia almost stealing a point for Aston Villa in front of the Barclay. But although we couldn't manage to hang on to the halftime whistle with a 1-goal lead, we did manage to hang on to the full-time whistle with a 1-1 draw, which brings us to our second game of the episode in the FA Cup against QPR. Both Armando Broja and Adam Eder get the start up front today. Abu Kamara comes into the side as well at right midfield. Tiano Ballo starts on the left, whilst Jose Cordoba gets a rare start at centre-back. Marcel Lotka starts in goal for, I think, the 3rd time this season. And I can only imagine the QPR centre-backs were unfamiliar with Adam Ida's game, because one of them showed the ball to him. He completely muscled him off it and then used his pace to get in behind. And he tucked the ball away neatly past Asmir Begovic to make it 1-0 Norwich within 90 seconds. We enjoyed a good spell of football in the opening periods, pinning QPR back, creating a number of opportunities. Kenny McLean on this occasion unfortunately couldn't hit the target, but QPR did grow into the game and start creating some opportunities of their own. Marcel Lotka, of course, in goal rather than Jason Steele today. Not sure he would have got this one, but Lyndon Dykes' header went wide. But it was Lyndon Dykes who gave QPR an equaliser on the half-an-hour mark. A pretty disappointing effort from Marcel Lotka at the near post, but it was a clinical, well-controlled finish on the volley. Lotka did manage to prevent Dykes from giving QPR the lead an hour into the game, though, parrying away at the near post. And like the QPR centre-backs, Asmir Begovic had his hands full at the other end with Adam Ida, but it would be Marcelino Nunez who would give us the lead once more about 8 minutes from time. Johnny Rowe turning back onto his left foot and picking out Marcelino Nunez around the penalty spot. His stooping header ended up in at the far post. And when Armando Broja slipped the ball into the net for a 3rd goal, I was certain, like the QPR centre-backs, that the offside flag was going to go up. It stayed down and we would run out 3-1 winners. And after having played a bit part role even against the likes of QPR, Jacob Sorensen, like Shane Duffy, announces that he's unhappy with the playtime that he's getting and he would like to leave the club this January too. Sorensen is, of course, another of those players whose contract is running down, so this seems like nothing more than trying to force our hand early. Which brings us to our 3rd and featured game of the episode against Burnley at Turf Moor. Burnley have managed to hang on to a number of their better players, including youngsters like Trafford and Zaroury, as well as the more experienced Wout Weghorst. They have, of course, also added former Norwich City man Jack Stacey to their ranks, whereas Johannes Thorup will continue to go with the formation and the 11 that seems to be turning the tide for us a little bit over the last episode or two. Switching the roles of Johnny Rowe and Tiano Ballo worked out fairly well against Aston Villa, so we will persist with that again here today against Burnley. So without further ado, let's head up to Turf Moor and see if we can do against Burnley what we failed to do against Leeds, and that's take points from another newly promoted side. So we are up in the commentary box here at Turf Moor, where we need a result today. Things haven't been going our way in recent episodes. We're starting to turn the tide a little bit now that we have gone back to our previous formation and tactical system that worked so well in the Championship. But against the likes of Burnley, we need to make sure we get 3 points. Because even now that we are playing a little bit better, points are still going to be very, very difficult to come by. And we did see that against Leeds in a prior episode. As Burnley put in an early corner towards Wout Weghorst too is going to be a real problem, I think, from those kinds of situations, like Ante Budimir in the very opening game of last season. But I think if we can keep Wout Weghorst quiet, something that Patrick Pfeiffer will hopefully be able to do, then I don't think we need to be too worried about Burnley going forward. Josh Sargent, Johnny Rowe finds him beautifully. Not quite enough on the pass. The ball does fall to Johnny Rowe, though, who can't quite find the room to strike. I was tempted to go 3 at the back today. So I'm eager to see how these two systems will work against each other. Burnley are playing on 4-4-2. And they do have kind of two target men up front, which is why I wouldn't have minded the extra centre-back. Just to deal with the two of them. Kind of put Patrick Pfeiffer on Wout Weghorst, put Wesley Hoyt on Larsson, and then just have Callum Chambers kind of free to roam. Here is Larsson. Patrick Pfeiffer coming across to defend, and it's a good save by Jason Steele. The shot, fortunately, pretty much straight at him. Otherwise, I think he and we would have been in trouble. Berger to deliver again for Burnley, and again they win the header. Cleared from the near post though, and Josh Sargent nods it on. O'Shea. Tiano Ballo out on the right-hand side today, and he's stolen the ball away. And O'Shea seems to have far more pace than I imagined he would. I thought we would just be able to get past him fairly easily there. Didn't prove to be the case. That is a great ball into Larsson, and it's another good save by Jason Steele. Fortunately, on that occasion, I think if he didn't make the save, we would have had that covered at the far post with Patrick Pfeiffer. So we did dive to block that. Tiano Ballo drifting inside. Marius Wolf. It's a really good ball from Tiano Ballo. Wolf can't quite cut inside. Burnley having the better of these opening exchanges. Really good challenge. However, I do certainly think we can grow into the game. Just need to get our feet on the ball. Start working it around. Start finding those passing patterns that do seem to appear when we are on our A game. Harry Toffolo, Borja Sainz can't quite slip it in for him. Johnny Rowe again though, with space on the edge of the box, and I'm not sure how that isn't a foul because we knocked it past the Burnley player. And it was the obstruction of the Burnley player on Johnny Rowe that prevented him from getting on the end of that knock-on. Borja Sainz finds Lewis O'Brien. Little bit of space now to cross. Doesn't quite fall to Josh Sargent in the box. Just the one target today. We have, of course, been more used to the two targets this season. Broha or Adam Eder alongside Sargent up front. And that is a downside of going back to the 4-2-3-1. Or the 3-4-3, whichever we decide to go out in. Is that we just have the single target in the box. And if Josh Sargent isn't available, Marius Wolf, which he isn't now, then we have very little to aim for. Two crosses attempted by Marius Wolf. Both would have been aimed at Johnny Rowe though. Here's that save again from Jason Steele. Very close to his body. Really not sure what we do in terms of a goalkeeper next season. As Lewis O'Brien delivers, Borja Sainz can't quite win it. Johnny Rowe will knock it down again to Lewis O'Brien though. And then shoot from range. Just taking a deflection off a Burnley man. It'll be another corner. Jason Steele, of course, 34 as we saw there. That's a hand. How is that not a free kick, ref? Maybe he was just inside the box. So Lewis O'Brien delivers again. Headed clear by Burnley. Johnny Rowe can't win it on the edge of the box. Harry Toffolo can, but only finds a Burnley man. Jason Steele is, of course, 34 years old. Marcel Lotka hasn't particularly impressed me this year. So, I mean, the number one shirt next season is pretty much Marcel Lotka's, just because Jason Steele is going to be 35. He is in the last year of his deal as well. I don't think, as Harry Toffolo hooks clear, I don't think we will renew his contract before the end of the season. So it's going to be Marcel Lotka, Paul Stewart, potentially. He's down in the youth academy at the moment. We might be looking to bring him, among others, up before the end of the episode, though. That's too much space. That's another good save. Fortunately, another poor finish from the Burnley man, but it is going to be yet another Burnley corner to be delivered by Berger. Johnny Rowe at the near post, beaten. Fortunately, the ball flashes over again. But that number 7, he's been troublesome. I think mostly because Johnny Rowe has been marking him. I don't think for any other reason than that. I think it's Zaruri, actually, number 7, for Burnley. That's a good switch of play to Toffolo. Wesley Hoyt. Johnny Rowe drops in. And just finds Marius Wolf just about on the right-hand side. Johnny Rowe once more. Into Borja Sainz this time, who's also dropped in a little bit. Tries to thread the needle to the overlapping Toffolo. Can't quite find him. Nunez. Also crowded out in midfield. The reason I went with the 4-2-3-1 over the 3-4-3 today is because I thought we could dominate Burnley in midfield with the extra man. That's rash. But that hasn't proven to be the case. Burnley have had the better of the exchanges in the centre of the pitch. And I think that is a real issue for us going forward in the game, because that's where we identified that our strength could be. And so if that's not where our strength is, then of course we need to find one elsewhere. Nunez blocked. Really good run from Borja Sainz. Good run from Josh Sargent as well to open up that space in behind for Nunez. Sainz found him. Nunez couldn't find the back of the net. And Burnley now press with that number 7, Zaruri. Nunez puts a stop to that attack though, and spots the run of Tiano Ballo on the far side, and it's an excellent pass with his left foot to find him. That's a really loose touch from Ballo though. So wasteful. So wasteful. That was a real opportunity. And Tiano Ballo's touch just so loose. Patrick Pfeiffer finds Lewis O'Brien. Just lost the ball over to Toffolo on the left-hand side. Borja Sainz runs in behind. Johnny Rowe comes deep. We win the ball back. Josh Sargent laid off for Marcelino Nunez. Unfortunately too close to Trafford at the opposite end. Best chance of the game for us by far. I think Burnley probably had one or two that are slightly better. But I think that's the clearest sight of goal that we've had in the game to this point. Johnny Rowe. Borja Sainz. Just has to twist, turn. I think that's going to be a free kick. And it is. Is this going to be a red card? I think this is going to be a red card. And I'm not even sure what for. It is a straight red for Larson. And I will need to see a replay here. That's so harsh. That's so harsh. I was looking elsewhere on the screen when that foul occurred. I didn't even realise a foul really had taken place. My eyes were on the near touchline as I tried to work an opening to get the ball into the box again. But that seemed very harsh. Potentially a yellow, but a straight red for that. I'm certainly not going to complain, because it obviously does give us an advantage for the remainder of the game. Sargent can't quite win the header. We did see how little advantage that, or how little difference, rather, that advantage made against Chelsea. But Burnley, of course, not anywhere close to the problem that Chelsea are. That doesn't mean they can't take the lead, though. Well cut out by Wesley Hoyt. And I think heading into the second half, we're going to have a real think about the way we want to go about the remainder of this game. Right now, we seem to want to go about gifting the ball to Burnley and inviting them onto us. Really poor pass from Lewis O'Brien. That's exactly what you don't want when you have a man advantage, is sloppy passes and poor decisions. Thankfully, the first corner doesn't come to anything, but it is going to be another. Berger to take them from the opposite side as well. And we just need to get everyone around Wout Weghorst, I think. And Tiano Ballo nods away at the near post. That's well won. Danger still not clear, though. Toffolo trying to stop the cross of Zaruri. Unfortunate deflection. Gives the ball to Burnley, though. Thankfully, it's over. Berger coming in off that right-hand side. after taking the corner, and the shot flashes over the bar. And I think we might be changing things in the second half, because I don't think we've had enough control over this first half. I don't think we've had enough control over this first half to really have faith that we can take advantage of Burnley's 10 men in the second. Get there, Toffolo. Just about. It's actually the Burnley man who ended up poking it back towards Jason Steele. Borja Sainz, just nothing on for him. Johnny Rowe. Marcelino Nunez doesn't end up with the ball because it's another really loose pass. Really, really sloppy play in these last 5-10 minutes or so. Burnley go a man down, and suddenly we can't find a yellow shirt. Marcelino Nunez finds the ball, though. Can't find Josh Sargent. Jack Stacey, one more attack for Burnley, potentially. What a boost it would be for them if they could grab a goal to go ahead just before the break. Thankfully, that cross goes over everybody, and Tiano Ballo can come away on the right-hand side. So Ruri is just as pacey as Ballo himself, though. So big switch of play is on to Toffolo. And Borja Sainz is in behind with just Josh Sargent to aim for. Cleared away by Burnley at the near post. We could have taken a touch with Sainz there. Perhaps that would have been the right decision. But the referee's half-time whistle does go. And it is going to be 0-0. And I think, as I said, we might change things coming out for the second half. Because that first half has not been good enough. And I think if we are going to make that man advantage pay, we're going to have to take a slightly different approach than we took in the first. Thank you for checking out this episode of our realistic Norwich City career mode. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're approaching the end of the FC24 cycle now, but there'll be plenty more content to come with the release of FC25, including 12th man memberships. If you want to get more involved with the channel, check out the membership tiers on my homepage. Memberships start at less than £2 per month and come with a whole host of benefits and rewards, including you being able to feature in my career mode saves. We'll be starting a road to glory with a created club as soon as FC25 drops. So if you want to be included in the save or even feature in our starting 11, become a 12th man member of the channel today. 12th man members also get exclusive early access to all of my videos, not only my career mode series, but also my realistic slider sets and everything else in between. If you want more information about exactly what each tier involves, be sure to check out this video on my homepage. If memberships aren't for you, you can also join the public area of my Discord server, or just keep watching and enjoying the content for free right here on YouTube. As always, I appreciate all of your encouragement and support. Now, let's get back to the video. So we have made a change as we come out for the second half here at Turf Moor. A change to our shape and a change to our personnel. Just slight changes. So we are in a 4-3-3 holding now, rather than a 4-3-3 attack. So rather than the two, we have a single pivot in Kenny McLean, who has come on for Johnny Rowe. I'm hoping that gives us a bit more control of the midfield, and that will allow those players up ahead, like Josh Sargent, like Tiano Ballo, who does stay on the right-hand side, like Borja Sainz. That will give them a bit more freedom. And it should allow us to dictate the tempo of this second half a little bit more than we managed to do in the first. And already seems to be working fairly well. It is going to give Lewis O'Brien a bit more of a chance to get forward as well. And Marcelino Nunez the same, and even more so. So we do, of course, want to press for the win. So we will be committing a few more players forward. Marcelino Nunez almost steals the ball away. Josh Sargent pressing. Burnley committing players forward, and Josh Sargent has stolen the ball away from the Burnley centre-back. All he needs to do is tuck it away, and that's exactly what he does in front of the Norwich City fans. What a horrible start to the second half for Burnley. But Josh Sargent will take that. It's not the most spectacular goal he will ever score, but it counts just like all the others. Really poor from Burnley. They left just 2 players back in their centre-backs. And if they're going to do that, they need to be better on the ball than they were there. But Josh Sargent not going to complain. Johannes Thorup not going to complain. We do have the lead here at Turf Moor. We do, of course, need to maintain the lead here at Turf Moor. But Josh Sargent once more has stolen the ball away. Is Tiano Ballo onside? It's another really loose touch from Ballo. He was onside in the end. It must have been very, very tight. But once more, Ballo's touch was less than ideal. I was caught in 2 minds with who to bring off for this second half, Ballo or Rowe. I put my faith in Ballo. Weghorst pulls it across. Burnley already have the equaliser. Picked apart by 10 men Burnley. I'm going to have to go and find another goal here. Really, really poor. Really good position taken up by Wout Weghorst though. Such an intelligent little bit of movement. And then to pull the ball across goal rather than take a shot on himself. I mean, credit where it's due. That was an excellent goal. But we simply cannot be gifting goals to sides with 10 men so easily. Especially a side who's just been promoted. It's one thing to lose against 10 men Chelsea. But we absolutely have to win against the 10-man Burnley. Good challenge. Borja Sainz finds Patrick Pfeiffer. I mean, we don't need to get our heads down. It's frustrating to concede. But we don't need to let our heads drop. We do, of course, still have a big advantage in this game. Borja Sainz. Ballo can't quite find him. And I would still favour us to win it. Good challenge, Marcelino Nunez. Josh Sargent. Burnley defenders lining up to block the shot. Marius Wolf into the box anyway. Can't quite find Ballo. It would have been a tap-in. Burnley cut it out on the edge of the 6-yard box though. Weghorst finds his strike partner, his new strike partner now that his former one has left the field, or been told to leave the field. Nice ball into Wout Weghorst, who continues to cause problems for us. Oh, and that's so poor. That's so poor. Good save, Jason Steele. Again, that's a smart position taken up by Wout Weghorst, but we can't let him get that much space so easily. O'Shea. Sargent just so persistent, so strong in the press. Nunez. Lewis O'Brien, can he get a shot away? Yes, he can. Can't quite find the far corner. Very good effort by Lewis O'Brien. As Burnley make a change as their goal scorer to make way. Not too sure exactly who that is that they're brought on, so I can't really tell whether that's an attacking change, a defensive one, whether it's just like for like. Twine is the name of the player, but I'm not familiar with him. Sargent again steals the ball away. We need options in the box to aim for though. Sargent just will not let this ball go. Ballo. Oh, can't quite steal it away and left one on the Burnley man in the process. What a ball that is. Out to Zaruri. Marcelino Nunez now steals it away. Tiano Ballo. Josh Sargent is onside. One touch to bring it down. One touch to shoot, and it's parried away by James Trafford. Sargent did well to even get a shot on target there. I thought it was going to be blocked by the Burnley defender, but somehow he managed to find a gap to force that ball towards the back of the net. Forced away from the back of the net by the Burnley goalkeeper though. Onyedika to come on for Burnley now. as they potentially are looking to try and win this game against the odds. Thought Sargent was going to steal that away again. Nunez. Oh, and Burnley are still committing players forward. They are not letting this game go. Oh, that's so close. They are going to be susceptible to a counter-attack, though, because they are not holding off Burnley. They are leaving those centre-backs on the halfway line pretty much alone. Tiano Ballo, good run. Nunez finds him. Sargent needs to get in the box. And he's offside. Interesting effort with his left foot rather than his right there. Clearly offside, though. And as we approach the last 20 minutes or so of the game, I think we're going to have to start thinking about extra changes to make as well. We won't make them just yet. But I think within 5 or 10 minutes, we need to give ourselves the best possible opportunity of winning this game. And I think that is going to involve making another change or two. Good challenge, Kenny McLean. Josh Sargent again in behind. This time he is onside, but he's held off by the Burnley centre-back. Trafford collects. Well, won by Burnley, and Zaruri is away on this left-hand side. Wout Weghorst again in space. Combines with Zaruri, and it's a good save by Steele. And despite the diving effort of 2 defenders and a goalkeeper, we can't prevent the deflection, the rebound, from ending up in the back of the net, and Burnley have the lead. Good save initially from Steele. And is that Berger? I think it's Berger at the back post. Terrible. Awful. We're going to have to make those changes now. We're going to have to throw everything at this game because there is no way we can lose to 10-man Burnley. Simply can't let it happen. So, 2 more changes for Johannes Thorup as Tiano Ballo and Harry Toffolo make way. It's going to be Abu Kamara and Adam Eder to come on, and we are going to step up into our ultra-attacking game plan. Kamara immediately on the ball, immediately loses out. So we're going to be in a straight 3-4-3 for the last 10-15 minutes or so of the game. Throwing bodies forward, trying to get an equalising goal at the very least. Adam Eder in behind. Josh Sargent with a good run. The Burnley players just stand off. Back post. Wolf can't get there. Kamara wins the header. Sargent can't quite find Borja Sainz. Nunez steals it away though. Sainz. Kamara. What a save. What a save from James Trafford. And he celebrates with Jack Stacey and the rest of his Burnley teammates, and rightly so. I don't think Kamara scored for us yet this season. It was an excellent opportunity. Excellent save from the Burnley goalkeeper, though. Brian will deliver the corner. It's a poor one. Doesn't beat the first man. It's going to drop to Burnley, who just hook it clear. Steele. Into the path of McLean. And Marius Wolf. Josh Sargent with another good run. Don't really want Josh Sargent crossing the ball, though, to be honest. I mean, there's not a lot of other options on. Sargent! Is that tipped over? It was tipped over by Trafford. Not too much on for Sargent there. He just cuts inside and lets fly with his left foot. As Jack Stacey makes way for the final 10 minutes or so. It's got to be a better delivery this time from O'Brien. And it is better. Sargent straight at Trafford! Wins the header against 2 Burnley defenders, and it's straight at the Burnley goalkeeper. Wolf wins the header. Down the line to Wolf once more from O'Brien. Wolf delivers. What a delivery it is. I think Eder should have been a bit more aggressive there. He let it go past him for the player in behind. But I think he had the better positioning. Burnley looking to kill this game late on. Patrick Pfeiffer sees that to an end. Borja Sainz breaks away down the left-hand side. Kamara trying his best to run directly into Borja Sainz. who lifts it towards the back post, and James Trafford collects. Just a horrific run from Kamara. Just runs directly at Borja Sainz. That continues to frustrate me. Like, literally run anywhere but there. Run anywhere but into the path that I am currently running in. Every time. What a save. What a save, Jason Steele. Game should be done. Should be over. Burnley should be out of here with the 3-1 win. Kamara with the pace, though. Sainz. Eder in behind. He's not going to get there. Can he force a corner, though? No. Can't force a throw in either. You can't win the ball back from Burnley, who could kill this game here with Wout Weghorst if he just takes it into the corner. Sainz can't quite win it back. Sainz almost steals it away. And we just can't get the ball back. Weghorst again. There's the game. There's the game. It's one thing to lose against 10-man Chelsea. To lose against 10-man Burnley is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Just have not been able to take control of this game. Wout Weghorst has been unreal. Absolutely unreal. He's had a hand in every single goal. What performance. What performance from Wout Weghorst. As I said earlier, credit where it's due. What performance from Burnley. Can somebody move, please? We are 3-1 down with like 30 seconds to go. Against 10 men. Can somebody look like they want the ball? Thank you, Lewis O'Brien. Adam Eder. Snatches at it. Wouldn't have made a difference anyway. That's an embarrassingly bad shot. Wouldn't have made a difference anyway. We weren't getting a third goal, even if that hit the back of the net. And this is a new low, I think. There's been some lows so far this season. This has to be the lowest. Because Burnley really are a team that... Oh, come on, ref. Burnley really are a team that we should be expecting to beat 11 on 11. They've gone down to 10 men for, what, 60? 65? 70 minutes of the game? And they've won by 2 goals. It was an attacking substitution. I said when Twine came on, I wasn't sure whether that's a defensive or an attacking substitution. He's grabbed a goal in the 90th minute. Berger had put Burnley ahead before that. I don't know what to make of that performance. I'm kind of speechless, to be honest. I think one thing that performance does tell me is that we need a true defensive midfielder in this side. We brought in Lewis O'Brien, and he is competent defensively, but he's more of a box-to-box player. He's not a true ball-winning CDM exactly. Marcelino Nunez certainly isn't that. Again, he's more of a box-to-box player, but with a more attacking, creative mindset. All we have beyond that is the likes of Kenny McLean, Liam Gibbs, and they don't really fit the bill either. So, as transfer deadline day arrives, Johannes Thorup is going to have to start working the phones. And he does so to success, securing the arrival of Leander Dendoncker on a $5 million deal from Aston Villa. I think one thing we've been missing so far this season is a true enforcer in front of our back four. And I'm not sure I really realised that until that really poor result against Burnley, where it was abundantly clear. But the arrival of Dendoncker should give us a lot more flexibility as well as a lot more security in midfield. But I think initially it might make a bit more sense to play Dendoncker just in front of the back four, give Lewis O'Brien and Marcelino Nunez the freedom to be those true box-to-box style midfielders that they so clearly are. We are, of course, prone to receiving offers as well as able to send them, and we have received an offer of about 20 million for Josh Sargent from Brighton. And if we want to stand any chance of staying up this season, we simply cannot allow Josh Sargent to leave, especially since Armando Broja has been recalled from his loan spell by Chelsea. So we are going to use the gentleman's agreement on Josh Sargent. That means he stays until the end of the season. but we field offers for him again in the summer, regardless of whether we stay up or go down. We haven't yet received an offer for Johnny Rowe though, so it looks like he might stay. And with just 3 hours left to go here on transfer deadline day, Johnny Rowe does put pen to paper and sign a new deal that will see him stay at the club for 4 years. And it wouldn't make sense to allow transfer deadline day to pass without picking up a youngster from Arsenal on a loan to buy deal. We have the opportunity to do that thanks to that custom objective that we did complete by beating them 2-0 in the last episode. So Miles Lewis Skelly arrives for the remainder of the season, just a 64 overall, but a technically gifted, versatile, dynamic centre midfielder with very high potential. But with that, another transfer deadline day does tick away, as does another episode, and we move into February where we have 5 games to get to. We've pulled a relatively tough draw in the 4th round of the FA Cup, as we will take on Wolves. We'll be facing Brighton at home in the Premier League, as well as taking on Brentford, Fulham and Manchester United all away from home. So it should be a tough month. So some big changes here in January. No more Armando Broja, no more Shane Duffy, but Leander Dendoncker arrives, as does Miles Lewis Skelly, and we'll see how they fit into the side in the next episode as we try and build some momentum into this second half of the season and try desperately to at least stay in the Premier League. So I hope to see you there. Take it easy.